Well, let's be honest. A draw isn't really very good for us, but considering we were down to 10 men and we didn't actually play very well after 30, 40 minutes or so, it could have been a loss. We could have easily lost this game. So I guess we take the draw. I've got a lot of things to talk about in this game. It quite literally just finished. That was the longest injury time period I think I've experienced this season. It just went on and on and on. We looked really nervy in the second half. As soon as Torreira came off, I don't know why he came off. I'm assuming it's because he got absolutely battered by the Palace players in the first half. He must have 100 bruises going home today. He had to come off apparently because I guess he just couldn't continue. And Guendouzi comes on and we lose that. I don't know, it felt we were so much more open with Guendouzi on the field. So that was definitely part of the reason we haven't gone on to win this game. Let's talk about the first 30 minutes or so, because as I mentioned, up until that point, we played pretty well. I would say since Arteta has come in, most of the time we've started well. We've then gone off the ball a little bit towards half-time, and then the second half has quite often been a massive improvement, but it was the opposite today. We started strongly, and then around the 35th, 40th minute, I just noticed a massive drop. It felt like Palace realised what they were doing wrong. They made a few changes to their system. Roy Hodgson is a good manager. I know he's a bit archaic, a bit old school, isn't he? But he knows what he has to do to get the best out of this Crystal Palace team. There's a reason why they've got more points than us this season. They've done very well. But they made a change and we just could not do anything. It was a completely different performance in the second half, and it looked like we were just really nervous to continue this good start under Arteta. And unfortunately, although it's a point and we're still, we're coming away with a draw and it's not a loss, it's just performance-wise, it really wasn't very good. So that's a little bit disappointing. It really is. But the first 30 minutes were very good. I thought we started well. We had the ball a lot of the time. It was, I think, 80% possession to Arsenal in the first 15 minutes. I mean, I haven't seen possession domination like that from an Arsenal team in quite some time. It was really good to watch, actually. The way we moved it around at the back, that's exactly what I guess the manager wants from us. We couldn't do it under Unai Emery. I don't know what it was. Maybe the forward players just weren't coming back and giving us more options. But defensively, when we were passing it across the back line, it just looked so dangerous. And actually, we conceded so many goals from doing it. Today was, I think, the first time I've watched it happen in that first 30 minutes and thought, okay, it does make sense because it draws the opposition in and then you hit them. You get down the wings, whatever, and hit them on the break. And it was working. And the first goal was brilliant. The play from Mesut, Lacazette, Aubameyang, beautiful. It was a fantastic goal. Little did we know that Aubameyang, okay, this is a crazy stat, Aubameyang would go on to get sent off in this game. He was sent off in, I think, the late 60 minutes with a terrible challenge. I'm not going to defend it. It was terrible. Could have broke Maya's leg or ankle. But that's the first time an Arsenal player has scored and been sent off in a game since, guess what? Crystal Palace away from home, and it was Mikel Arteta. I couldn't believe that. What are the odds? That is hilarious to me. But let's talk about that challenge because a lot of Arsenal fans were actually trying to defend that. I'm sorry, but if you watch the replay, and I'm sure you've watched, I don't know how you can come to that conclusion, but Aubameyang has gone in with his foot up like this, studs literally pointing right into the guy's ankle, and he's gone over the ball. I don't think even the ball was there, but he's bent the ankle of Maya completely. And it's such a reckless challenge. And as soon as I saw the replay, I knew that VAR was going to send him off. But the funniest thing of all, you've got the Palace fans holding up a banner at the start of the game, calling for VAR to be gone. They were chanting about how crap VAR is. And then they go ahead and celebrate when Aubameyang gets sent off by VAR. You cannot write this. I mean, that is modern football at its best, isn't it? Modern day football fans complaining about something, but still they're okay with it. Technically, if you hated VAR, you'd be saying, oh yeah, it's a red card, but they shouldn't have had a man sent off because VAR's done that. Even though it was the correct decision, even though it was definitely a red card, without VAR, he would have still been on the pitch. And I reckon we might have had more of a chance to win the game. Because, of course, having Aubameyang on the pitch, you're more likely to score. You're more likely to win the game. And that does mean, of course, he will miss the Chelsea game I think we've got next. So that's not great news. But I thought that was funny. There were multiple times throughout the game where VAR was used, and those Crystal Palace fans that were complaining about VAR, rightly so in my opinion. I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't mind if they just cancelled it, to be honest. But it's a bit ironic, isn't it, when you get a decision your way and still cheer it. But I do get it. Even if I was saying, oh, VAR needs to go, and then in that very game VAR gives us something, I would have, of course, cheered. So it's just funny. It's a really delicate subject. I'm not a fan of VAR at the moment, the way it's being used. I think it's a good technology to have, and I think sports in this modern era should be using something like it, but the way we're using it and the rules that are associated with VAR are wrong. I think that the technology is right, that we are using it in the wrong way, though. That's the issue. We need to come back next season and change the way we use it. It's too slow. The rules are very, very complicated for a lot of people watching the game that just don't understand what's going on, especially in the stadium. And they're making a few improvements. You see it on the big screens that something's being reviewed. But even so, if you're waiting 2, 3, 4, even 5 minutes sometimes for a decision, yeah, it's going to ruin the game. And I'm a huge fan of removing VAR because of the atmosphere issues. When you score a goal, you want to cheer. You don't want to look around and just make sure that it's been given first. You don't want to be celebrating goals twice because of it, because you just never know when you score if it's going to be ruled offside or whatever. It's just not football. So that's my little discussion on VAR. I'm completely fine with us using VAR at some point, but right now it's not doing the job it should be doing. Even though it got that one right, there's been too many examples this season in the Premier League where we are using it wrong. There are other leagues that are doing it so much better than us, so we need to watch how they do it and bring it back in next season. I said it at the start of this year. It would have been a good time to maybe just say, look, we've got it wrong. As of the 1st of January, we are not going to be using VAR until the beginning of next season. It would have never happened, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely got it right, though. I just want everyone to know I agree with the decision that Aubameyang should have been sent off. It was a horrific challenge. And let's talk about Palace's goal, because that was some bad luck, wasn't it? They were playing very well at the time, and they deserved to get something out of this game, but the way they scored is so unfortunate. David Luiz has been so good for us since Arteta's come in, arguably our best defender. And the way the ball's hit his planted foot and bounced over the keeper, I mean, you can't write it. It's so unlucky. And just getting the red card made it even worse because there was no way we were going to win the game. Even though we managed to hit the post with Pepe, and then Lacazette with a rebound just could not lift it over the keeper. That might have been a win. That would have been unbelievably good. But there are still positives to take away from this game. And that's what Arteta will be thinking. This is a process. It's going to be a long journey until things really turn around. But we've seen a massive improvement. And this draw doesn't actually feel like... If Unai Emery was still here and we got this draw, I'd be fuming, because it just felt bad with Unai Emery. It didn't look right. But the fact that we've definitely seen an improvement, we know that we're building to something, that Arteta is here, I'm okay with it. It's okay. A draw will not really do anything to us this season because we're not going to make it into the top 4. We're not going to get relegated. We might as well just use these experiences to learn from our mistakes. Quick word on some players that I thought did really well. Kolasinac was fantastic at left back. I've been a huge fan of his of recent. I think that we're seeing the best of him, and that is certainly with him pushing forward down that left side. And that means Aubameyang, who is kind of sacrificed down the left wing to bring Lacazette as striker, but with Kolasinac going down the left side, Aubameyang goes inside, and that is actually going to get us a lot of goals. And Aubameyang got his goal today, as I said. So, yeah, Kolasinac was brilliant. Maitland-Niles as well, having another very good game at right back against Zaha, a player that we almost signed. We went with Pepe instead. Funny how they were both basically on the same wing, weren't they? I'm sure they're close friends, they're from the same country and all that stuff, but there must be a competition there because it was Zaha or Pepe, and we went with Pepe. But very interesting to see Maitland-Niles go against Zaha like that and actually not give him too much. I thought that was pretty good. Martinelli came on, gave us something different. I would actually like to see Martinelli start the next game with Aubameyang out. So let's bring Martinelli on that left side. I thought Xhaka had another very good game as well. Didn't make any terrible mistakes, which is always a positive. And I thought he did very well with Torreira in that first half. And then, of course, Guendouzi came on. The problem with Guendouzi is he doesn't seem to know when to make a tackle, when to get in there. He makes the wrong decision a lot of the time where he just loses his head. And it hurts us more than it helps us in those situations where maybe he shouldn't be making a challenge. He should just be, standing toe-to-toe and moving back with the player. But instead, he's lunging in. Instead, he's in the wrong position. He's not goal side. And he can be a little bit of a liability, but I think he will come good. There's no doubt that Torreira's got an incredible talent. So overall, I'm not actually too disappointed. This isn't going to ruin my weekend. After all, we played well in the first half. The second half wasn't great. We've managed to get a draw after going down to 10 men, after conceding a very unlucky deflection goal. It's one of those things. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe a Man City would have drawn this game. It can happen, and it does happen. Unfortunately to us, it's happened a lot this season where we just haven't had the luck. But I'm still happy. I'm still happy that Arteta's still getting to grips with the team and we're still seeing improvements every single game. But we move on into the next one. Hopefully you've enjoyed my review of the game. 1-1 against Crystal Palace. It's not what I would have taken before the game, but considering how things went, I think it wasn't all bad. There are things that we can take from this. So cheers for watching. Hopefully you are enjoying all the content going up on the channel. We will be starting a new career mode very shortly, so you can look forward to that. And of course, these reviews every time Arsenal play. And I will see you for the next one very soon.